language and cultural noise. Language and culture are the frameworks through which humans experience, communicate, and understand reality. A quote said by Lev Vronkowski. 48, 31, 21, Hispanic, Caucasian, Black, and other. This is the current makeup of the school district where I attend school. I am a student in a district where the Hispanic population is underrepresented in advanced placement classes and extracurricular activities, and overrepresented in dropout rates. I am a student in a district where Black children are underrepresented in meeting state advantages, state averages, or even passing standardized testing, but are overrepresented in behavioral referrals, in-school suspension, and placement into our alternative school. I unfortunately am a statistic, but through positive communication with my teachers, willing to understand and appreciate my differences, I am working to be louder than the cultural noise that is meant to define my future. You do not know me, but I can guarantee that you already have formed certain opinions about me, based solely on my appearance. Do you think I'm loud? Do you think I am less educated than my white peers? Do you think I am good at sports? Do you think I listen to rap music? Will you believe if I told you that some of these opinions have impacted my educational outcome? What if I told you that you might be scientifically justified in forming opinions about me before you really know who I am? But that is fine. That fine line separates justification and harmful prejudice. What if I told you that some of these stereotypical traits are true about me? Don't get me wrong. Those perceptions that you have made about me might have the potential to negatively impact my life. But they are entirely natural. In reality, they are our mind's way of creating a subconscious checklist of characteristics that could potentially pose a threat to our physical well-being. Some of the characteristics that those perceptions are often influenced by what we are taught about certain characteristics, but natural. None of the less, according to the researchers with Arizona State University, stereotyping and a sort of compartmentalizing of traits that allow us to not determine real threats. Cultural noise created by differences in values and norms within subgroups of individuals hinders effective communication in the educational setting. Barriers to effective communication can only be overcome with education and awareness that promotes empathy, and understanding. Background to the problem. The impact of communication relationship between teacher and student has an impact, either positive or negative, on the educational outcome of the student. From the time they enter grad school and throughout their time in college. During my time in elementary school, I cannot think of many positive relationships I had with teachers or others that had worked in the school. I felt like even when I was trying to tell the teacher something, she was not listening to me or had already made up her mind about what I was trying to explain. By the time I reached 5th grade, I had over 20 office referrals and failed every standardized test I have taken because I believed that nobody was listening to me and nobody really cared. It turns out that I am not alone. In fact, researchers with the University of North Carolina concluded that racial stereotyping and discrimination are to blame disciplinaries in performance and the belief of minority students that educators have lower expectations related to educational outcomes. Claim problem. The problem with communication in education is that cultural diversity in the American classroom is increasing more rapidly than actual diversity in the American educator. What do I mean by this? Take the demographic makeup of our schools. 69% of the students in my school district come from a cultural background different from the mostly Caucasian faculty responsible for meeting our educational needs. Problem with communication in education. According to the Teacher and Educational Research, 45.7% of the school age children are determined to be currently and or ingestically diverse. However, culturally and or ingestically, I'm not saying that word correct. Experienced educators only make up about 16% of the field of education. Since culture differences are known to impact communication and communication is important in education, it is important to make sure cultural noise does not get in the way of the students' education. However, according to the educational research from Brigham Young University, most teachers are faced with moral and ethical demons related to their own cultural norms, thus creating tension in being what is the best for the student. Proof that the problem needs to be addressed. The problem that needs to be addressed is that, according to the U.S. News and World Report, January 28, 2015, twice as many Black and Hispanic students dropped out every year as compared to their white peers. Students of the minority make up the majority of students facing behavioral consequences. Both of these statistics, communication experts agree and relate to cultural differences and the inability for those different cultures to communicate effectively. Solution: if ignorance to culture differences is the reason that culture noise impacts effective communication, then culture education is surely the key to fixing the problem. If teachers receive more training on the cultures that make up their classrooms, they will be better equipped to tune in cultural noise and meet the needs better of each of their students. In order to promote diversity in the classroom, teachers must first understand what those things are that create the diversity. Communication expert Caroline Simpson concludes that in the exploration of cultural values, teachers and students learn that culture influence values and no one values superiors the other, thus providing teachers and students with the tools to produce cross-culture communication. The benefits: when teachers understand their students understand their teachers, and students understand each other, and it creates a more positive learning environment in the classroom. Claim of action: as students, parents, educators, we must do our part to better understand our other cultures, whether it be the culture of the minority or the majority. This begins with asking your school district to realize a culture diverse and innovative. Educating a population in culture diversity begins with the educational system itself. Step 1. First, teachers must attend regular trainings to learn and stay on top of cultural differences that they face in schools. According to Gary R. Howard, who is founder and president of the Reach Center of Multicultural Education, rapidly changing demographics demand that we engage in a vigorous, ongoing, and sympathetic process of professional development and prepare all educators in the school to function efficiently in high diverse environment. Step 2. Teachers should bring cultural knowledge back to their students and encourage students to learn and appreciate the differences of their peers while avoid cultural noise that contributes to stereotypes. Conclusion. Research provides that difference in cultural norms and values contributes largely to barriers that prevent effective communication. Such as barriers are also proven to impact positive educational outcomes of students. In In educating educators on the cultural differences within their classrooms, teachers can more effectively meet the communication and educational needs of their students. This education and educators can be a trickle down effect, resulting in the silencing of cultural noise in the classroom as well as in the community. In the words of former Secretary General of the United Nations, tolerance, in, intercultural dialogue, and respect for diversity are more essential than ever in a world where people are becoming more and more closely interconnected.